Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. I would like to commence this meeting at the Contemporary Jurisprudence Research Institute. I'm honored to have our esteemed guest present, and I'm eager to learn from him, Dr. Hojjat-UL-Islam Peysepar. Let's take this opportunity to congratulate you on the week of research. You are so welcome to this institute. Our topic in this session is historical criticism and its impact on the legal context of the Qur'an, critique. Nowadays, this historical criticism is so important in Islamic studies. And just I want to ask our speaker, Dr. Hojjat-ul-Islam Peysepar, to begin his presentation. And after talk, we will have a question and answer meeting. And the floor is yours, Dr. Peysepar, please. Thank you so much.
Bismillah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين إنه خير ناصر ومعين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Let me first thank you for our audience who are present here, or those who are probably online and they are just listening to us. I thank you all. Before starting on the topic, historical criticism and its impact on the legal context of the Quran, I need to just explain something about the topic. You see, we have here historical criticism. Historical criticism is a methodology, and the related method in this regard is called historical critical method. The difference, between the methodology and the method is that, usually methodology is the mindset and the background theory of the methods of, and usually methodology could be a background theory of a range of methods. Here, the methods is called, historical critical method. You see, there are many research methods which have been established in the universities in the world to facilitate research. These, these methods and methodologies are like, logics and mathematics that they have been developed during the history of education. And for research in many disciplines, we have, varied methods and methodology. And when it comes to religious studies as well, Assalamu alaikum. In religious studies also we have many different methods. As I once counted the methods, it was around 23 different methods in Islamic in religious studies. I'm afraid many scholars many Muslim scholars are not familiar with these, methods and methodologies in Islamic studies. Usually, they are familiar with, only the library method of, research, which is not enough. Today in the world, in religious studies, they use more than 20 different, methods in research. And as I said, every sort of, method facilitates, research in some particular scope. And because, and of course, every method is different from another, and in different aspects. And also, the result that we get from every method is different from another method. I mean, when you search a topic with one single method, you will find limited, results and finding as during this research. But when you shift to another research method, your findings would be different. Your results would be different. So every kind of methods will give you a different purpose, a different finding, and a different result. Because of the time limits, I'm not going to just tell the differences between these methods, but you will see that every method is different from another, based on 4 indicators: research questions and objectives, nature of the phenomenon. It means, based on the nature of the phenomenon that we are going to research, the method would be different. Based on the objective of our, research, the method would be different. Also, another indicator is, data availability. Means based on the sort of data, data source, and data collection. Also, based on that, our research would be different. And the 4th indicator is disciplinary context. Based on the scope of your research, whether it is, for instance, in social science or in empirical sciences, in natural sciences, your research would be different. So it's not so that by single research you can, you can do it in every sort of, disciplines and every sort of, questions and issues, topics, every sort of, data availability. No, by every single of these, indications, your research would be, your research method, would be different. Yeah, and by this, point that, here I assimilated, the research method to lens. Every research method is, like a lens. With every lens, you can see one particular thing. For instance, with a thermal, lens, you will see only, living, objects, at night, for example. But it doesn't mean that there is no other things. No, every other thing could be, there, but you cannot see it because you will only look through a particular lens. You will see only particular things and objects. So if you change your lens, you will see other things. So research method is like that. If you change your research method, you will see many other things, possibly. You see? Now, historical critical method in religious texts. One of the actually main duty of historical critical method is studying in religious text, particularly, ancient texts. In this, method, we can just examine the origins of the ancient text, the origin of the ancient text. We can find the time and place and the events and persons and objects which are related to that ancient text. And we can, find that is that ancient text is, for example, in that situation, was created in that situation or not, and we can find out, the context of that. It means that other elements, other, things that influences that text at that, period of time. We can find the sources of material in that text. We can find the, arrangement and the development of the text, and also linguistics features. All of these things can be examined in historical critical methods in religious studies. Now, as in the, in one of the slides earlier, I said that, based on the objective, based on the, assumptions and biases, and based on the data method and based on the phenomenon, the research method changes. It means that we should find out that when we are going to study, historical method, historical critical method, we should study what type of, objects it's going to investigate, what type of, phenomenon, what type of, data, it's going to investigate that. Okay, now here, first of all, let's see what sort of, object historical critical method. Objective means aim, you see? Yeah. What sort of aims, this method seeks? This method seeks, the following, as you see here, aims. The first one, it's going to reconstruct the historical context. It means that it's when it finds, some clues in the history, he tried to piece each other, all of them together, and to just reconstruct the event. So one of the purpose is reconstructing the historical context. The other one is, challenging the traditional interpretation. You see, for every ancient text, there are many different, interpretations, and historical critical method is going to just find out if there is another interpretation. Has these, interpretation been changed during the history? So it is one of the objectives. Another is identifying the underlying assumption and biases. You see, in every historical text, there is or there are some, assumptions. There are some biases. For instance, in the Bible, one of the assumptions were, one of the assumptions was that it is the Word of God, for instance. Or in the Quran as well. We have the same assumption that this, book is the Word of God. So it is one of the assumptions. And the historical critical method tries to find out if this assumption is true or not, based on some signs and some, based on the context of the, text. And at last, it's going to provide a deeper understanding of the text and an objective understanding. Objective here means not subjective. It's different from that objective there. Objective, at the top of our slide is called, it is equivalent to aim. But here, objective is opposite of subjective. Subjective is something which is based on your mind, but objective understanding is an understanding which is based on external signs and evidence. Okay, so they are different. What kind of phenomena this method investigate? It investigates the actually texts and historical evidence and historical context. This is the phenomenon, or these are the phenomena that this method is responsible for examining them. Now about the data sources. You see, in every research method, we should find out what are the data resources and what are the data collection. I mean, how we can collect the data in this, type of research. About the data sources that is used in a historical critical method is usually primary sources. It means the sources which are contemporary to the text, either a piece of another piece of manuscript, some inscriptions, a coin, even a coin, which is contemporary to that text. Or many other, things that can be discovered as contemporary, evidence to that, text. Another sort of, data is secondary data. It means other, research or other literature review which, are around the text. Perhaps, for instance, in today, we have lots of, or many, dissertations, theses, articles, books around, that things, which are all called, secondary, sources. And in this case, we need to just refer to the data analysis as well. In every research, the analysis is different. The type of analysis, for instance, in physics is different from in mathematics. The type of, analysis of data in linguistics is different from, perhaps religious studies. So data analysis is also important to just to consider. So in data analysis, we have source criticism. It means just to criticize the authenticity of the text, the reliability of the text, the validity of the text. You see, and then the analysis of the internal evidence and also external evidence in a text. We have text criticism, which is another type of analysis in, historical critical method, which is about the accuracy of the text, and also here again about the reliability of the text, about identifying the text, the origin of the text, and so on. And another is historical reconstruction, again with putting together the pieces of history regarding that text. We should reconstruct, by reconstructing the evidence and the historical evidence, we can analyze the that's it. And another way of analysis in this method is called comparative analysis. Sometimes we need to compare the evidences. We compare the patterns. We compare the similarities and the contrast evidence there. By comparison we can analyze and we can find some results. Now about the disciplines. As I mentioned, every sort of discipline has its own, methods. In chemistry, you can find some specific, research methods. In Islamic studies, you can find specific research methods. But what type of, disciplines we can see that historical critical method is used? Usually, it is mostly in biblical studies, which is quite a discipline. In the biblical studies, we just use historical critical method to have some finding in the historical context of that. Then in theology, we need to use historical critical method to find out if a particular point and belief in theology, is that from the beginning, for instance, regarding Islam, is that belief was in the early period of Islam, in the time of, for example, in the time of Prophet life, or no, it is for later than that period, for instance. So this is another discipline. The last discipline that I'm going today to refer is Islamic studies on the whole. In many branches of Islamic studies, we can use historical critical method. Now, just let's look at the findings of the historical critical method in the Bible. Then we can expect and we can anticipate what is going to happen while studying the Holy Quran with this method. In the Bible, these are the findings of historical critical method. One of them is that the Bible is human words. It says that as we study, Bible is not inspired words by God. Another is that regarding the authorship, dating, historical accuracy of the Bible, and they actually question, they cast doubt the authorship, the datings, and the historical accuracy of the Bible. Absolutely. Another thing which is considered a finding in the Bible is that historical character of the Bible, in this character is emphasized they say that, it is mostly a historical, work. It is not a theological book. You see, this is something that they say. They say the Bible is not a theological book. It is mostly a historical book, as we have these evidences. And they have something, some other things, some other findings, when they just study the sources, the form of the Bible, the reduction and the development of the Bible, the tradition. They will, they have different findings in these, scopes. But you see, they decided to have the same methodology on studying the Holy Quran, and naturally they expected the same finding, when studying the Holy Quran. But the point is that the Holy Quran is different from the Bible. The Bible has been just written at least 150 years after the Jesus. So, but the Holy Quran, based on what Muslims believe, has been collected during the time of the Prophet, and usually Muslims do not use critical methods on this, though they just use textual criticism on the Holy Quran. Now, by this method, the Western, scholars tried to investigate the Quran's origin, as well as, the same as the Bible, the Quran's text, the Quran's, composition, history, and content. Now let's see what happens in the Quran. The consequences that they're going to just get again in the Holy Quran is that they say that, we rely on, just pay attention here, please, because that, slide is very important. When they are going to study the Holy Quran and they expect, the same thing as they found in the Bible, they say that, we rely on the external evidence. We are not dealing with what Muslims say. And we just judge based on the external evidences. And they prioritize actually a secular point of view, not a religious point of view. Then in this case, they again cast doubt on the divine origin of the Quran, they say. And they try to undermine the authenticity of the Quran as well. It means to weaken. They say that no, there is no authenticity in the Holy Quran, they are going to say. And either, in theological aspects of the Quran, they try to reject, they try to undermine that, idea. Or or on the, moralities and moral, authenticity of the Quran. They try to undermine them. They try to cast doubt on the, moral authenticity of the Holy Quran. Overall, as you see here, the legal context, they're going to say that the legal context of the Quran is disputed. It is rejected. They're going to say that. And this is the main point, that I'm going to discuss today. Okay? Now, how we can, how can we criticize these, types of finding? That's the point for, us today. You see, an important point that we should pay attention to that is that if you're going to criticize a particular method, we should criticize it in the same way and in the same scope that he's going to study. If he's going to just have an external study on the Quran, the criticism should be based on the external evidences as well. We cannot, criticize them based on our own view, which is internal view. That's the point. Yeah, we concern, some things based on our internal, views and in our internal, belief. But with these, concern, we are not able to criticize the method. The method should be in the same scope, in the same, discipline, and in the same way that the method studies the Holy Quran. That's the point. Historical critical method is an ethic method of studying the issues. What does ethic mean? Ethic means external. It means that it studies the external, evidences. If we are going to criticize it, we should use, again, external, evidence. Otherwise, this sort of criticism is not academic. It is not scientific. You see? Yeah, this, when it is ethic method, then it is considered empirical and objective method. Objective means here, again, based on external, antonym of subjective here. Now, evaluating from the view of the Quran and Islam and Muslim is an emic way. So by emic, point of view, we are not able to criticize this method. And any, effort in this, way could be useless, could be futile. So we are going to just criticize the method based on the same scope of the method. Yeah. Now, the right critique, how we can criticize the historical, critical studies of the Quran. You see, this method has different, drawbacks. This method is flawed. This method is not a complete, and viable method on studying the Holy Quran. So we should just actually attack the method, itself. The method has some problems in studying the Holy Quran. First of all, we say that every method finds a particular, result which is relative to its own, method. For instance, when they say that based on the external evidences, we cannot find the authenticity and the revelation of the Holy Quran, we say that, your method cannot see the aspect of revelation of the Quran. It's not able to see that. How do you judge? How do you judge that, it is not a revelation? Because from the view of your lens, you're not able to see that. It's like when we are using a thermal lens, and we see, at night, we are able to see only the living things. And if I claim that there is no plant there, I'm not able to just, or there is no stone there, we cannot, able to say that. Because, through our own lens, usually I'm not able to see a stone. So, in that lens of that, method, you're not able to see that if the Holy Quran is authentic, if it is a revelation or not. So the first problem of that research is that he claims something which it is not able to see that at all. Another drawback of this method is that usually in this method we are faced with the limited historical context. It means the evidences around that is so limited. So we cannot, judge with only one manuscript, 2 manuscripts, or 10 manuscripts. We need, many, evidences around a particular text, so that we can find out if it is a revelation or not, if it is, for example, the Holy Quran or not, if it is a part of the Quran or not. We don't have enough evidence. We cannot find, when we are just having the critical method, historical critical method, we cannot find these, we cannot find enough evidence for that. So, without enough evidence, what we claim is only based on conjecture, means based on thinking only. And it is not objective. It is absolutely a subjective, finding. Another, problem with this, method studying the Holy Quran is that it is difficult to date the manuscript of the Holy Quran. Still at our time, still dating the manuscript of the Quran is absolutely difficult. Even, by radiocarbon, which is the most, technology of dating. Dating means, finding the date of something. Dating the Holy Quran, even, with radiocarbon is difficult. We cannot say that this, manuscript certainly belongs to that period, after the Holy Prophet or the previous time, or, the previous period of time, before the Holy Prophet. We cannot say that. So this is another problem. Actually, they are claiming something that would be only based on, thinking, not based on, evidence. Another drawback is limited source material. Even the source material. Previously, we talked about the limited context. Now, limited source as well. We cannot find enough sources to say that this part of the Holy Quran belongs to that history after the Prophet, or belongs to the history before the Prophet. There is nothing as evidence to claim that, but they claim. That's their problem. And the last problem with that, with them, the last problem with those who just use this historical critical method is that they have biased assumptions as well. They say that, you Muslims have an assumption. Your assumption is that this, book is a revelation. This book of, this book is authentic. So you are not able to judge the Holy Quran based on evidence. And on the other hand, they have the same problem because they also have an assumption to say that we assume that this book is not revealed. This book is not authentic. This book is not the book of. This is also an assumption, and they have. In this case, they have another assumption. At least they should say that we don't know that if it is a revelation or not. With this view, with this point of view, they can search. But without, or if they have a particular assumption, and to say that we assume that this book is not revealed, then it is a wrong and it is a biased assumption. So these are, as you see, and another, of course, point, another drawback is the linguistic complexity. It means that the linguistics feature of the Holy Quran is absolutely complex. It is sophisticated, and it cannot only be examined by one single method. And so in this case, they are not, actually, those researchers with historical critical method are not qualified to judge the, the complicated features of the Holy Quran. So I'm going to say that if you're going to criticize the historical critical, views regarding the legal context of the Quran, we cannot aim at, that, point and to say that, no, we believe that legal context of the Holy Quran is authentic and it is revealed. No, it is not the case. It's not the method that we can just do, against that method. We should just mention the drawbacks and the problems of this, method regarding studying the Holy Quran. Of course, we are not going to just deny that every sort of, research method could have another understanding for us, could bring another understanding for us for our, issues and topics. But we should pay attention that every method is qualified to find some particular things, and they cannot claim what they are not able to see. This is the point. And in conclusion, as you see, the last one is that historical critical method is not qualified to reject the authenticity of the Quran and its legal context, but at least he can express an ability to examine it, and he can express some other things that is relevant to that method. I hope I can bring something useful in that, field of study for you, and I hope that I have not wasted your time. Thank you very much for listening. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Peysepar, and really it was a great presentation, and I learned a lot. Thank you so much, and thank you And if you have any question or comment, please share with us, and please feel free to ask question or share your thought or comments. Yes.
Is there any question? Are you sure? I think
Okay.
you have a question and you're shy to say.
Okay,
Okay,
please.
It's better.
But it keeps making the sound.
Yeah,
Hello?
noises.
You can use this one.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I wanted to ask if is there like a particular example of a text that actually criticizes the Quran, like as you mentioned with like
Use it. All of them, I guess, they
sorry.
have some noises.
No, I'm just wondering, like, if there is an example. If you have any examples of like a I don't know, a text or like a criticism that has been directed towards the Quran, like a text that we can read and see examples of.
Yeah.
If you have.
Actually, we have lots of material in the West that criticize they criticize the Holy Quran. I didn't want to just refer to that because I want to just point to the actually the same only research method.
Okay.
But if I was to just refer to one particular reference and book, there were lots of. At the moment, based on an statistic that I got recently, there are millions of books, regarding the every aspect of Islam that have been written in the West in English, mostly in English. There are in other languages as well, but in English we have millions of books which have been written about different aspects of Islam, and many of them are against Islam, not for. Against the Holy Quran, not for. You see that, of course, I mentioned some people,
Yeah, I
like
saw.
John Vansbro
Yeah.
and Michael Kirk and some other personalities there. So I wanted to just aim at only the research method, and it was, as I think, it is the most important point. And if I try to reject the methodology in the study of the Quran, in that findings, yeah, it can be used in the studying of the Holy Quran regarding other aspects, no problem at all. No, we are not. We don't have any problem with using these methods.
Okay.
Because these methods are like logics.
So they are
not
valid.
Like they are
Yeah.
not mathematics.
Okay.
You cannot say that they are not good. No.
Okay.
All of them could have another understanding of the topic and issues around us. But we should pay attention to that. Every method could
Has
find
some.
a particular thing. Every method can see some specific things, and they cannot claim something beyond that.
Okay.
That's the one.
But sorry, can I ask? Do you think like the Bible, for example, because you said the Bible and Quran obviously differs from what they've concluded from research, but do you think like or is it fair to use the same methodology for the Bible or for the Torah and for the Quran, or does the Quran require like a specific? Because you mentioned like they were
the
different.
Quran is not specific, but the point is that as I mentioned, every research method should be used for a particular object, a particular thing. That's the objects when they, when they differ, then there
method that we use for studying the method could be, that object would be different.
Yes.
That's the point of
Yes,
it.
true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
She was going to. Okay.
My question was, you said the Bible is a human word and not inspired by the Word of God. So my question here is, if you said it is a human word, there are some histories too in the Bible, because I read the Bible, I've read it, and there are some histories there, Masalan, the histories about the story of Hazrat Sulaiman in Aro. Can we say those two are human words and they are not true? Is all the content in the Bible, are they human words or some of it?
You see, many of the, perhaps many points in the Bible could be, derived from what they had from Jesus, peace be upon him. But the point is that the same word is not the word of God. That's the point. As we see that there are many stories in the Holy Quran. Sorry. As you see, there are many stories in the Holy Quran and Bible that could be similar to each other. Why? Because they stem from the same source, which is revelation. So, but the Holy Quran is the same words that the Holy Prophet, just expressed, and they are the Word of God. But the words in the Bible, they are not the same that Jesus, expressed, and they are only a gist of the story.
Sure.
Yeah.
Another question.
And this is because there is a similarity between them.
Can I add something?
Another question.
Okay.
There is we share believe that the Quran with us right now is not well arranged. The one with Imam Mahdi is the arranged Quran. And the Sunni also believe the Quran we are using right now is different from the Muslim Quran. The Sunnis, part of the Sunnis believe that the Quran we are using is not the same. So I want to ask, we saying the Quran with Imam Mahdi is the well-arranged Quran. Doesn't that give space for criticism? All right?
Yeah.
But that's my question. Did you get?
Actually, your question is not related to this topic.
No, I know. I'm just curious about it. Yeah.
That's needs
about the criticism.
A lot of provisions, a lot of introductory material to say that.
But I think that also gives space for the criticism we're talking about here. Because if we say there's another Quran with Imam Mahdi, and the Sunni are saying the Quran with us is not the one, the Muslim use. This, I think, that gives space for criticism also. I think so.
You see, Muslim scholars, first of all, welcome any criticism, in this regard, as well as, the other, aspects. And they have just answered many questions there. But I'd like, to refer you to the, answers of them, and because it's not related to this, and
Criticism is different from criticism.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope you are good. And sorry to be late. Okay. I wanted to add something to your points for the students, if you allow me. Regarding the examples of the authors that wrote some kind of historical criticism, we can refer to specifically to some encyclopedia regarding Islamic points, and you can find, for example, in those books there are many different subjects. You can find legal subject as well. As I read about will, it was because will is jurisprudential and legal So you can search on that as well. And to Rashida, I wanted to say that I want to add kind of confirm your point that we have to think that being inspired by Allah is authentic. It's true, but it doesn't mean that if something is not from Allah and it's a historical point, it surely is wrong. We don't say like that. We just we search about that. But might be they are true, as professor said that might be they are derived by Jesus. That is handed to us.
Because Ustad, some people say, even I heard one of my teachers said, the Bible is consist of the words of the Prophet Isa. Right, those is words alone. I said some people said the Bible is consist of the words of Jesus, that what it did.
Generally, there are some claim that it's books of Allah, but they themselves, by searching, many of Christianity scholars, they reach to that point that this book couldn't be the books of Allah Almighty, inspired by Allah Almighty, because you can find some stories from after the time of, for example, Moses' times, or after the time of Jesus' times, and it surely wouldn't be the words of, for example, the Moses, by the Moses prophets, and it shows that these books are not inspired by Allah Almighty, but it doesn't mean the book of Bible is wrong completely, and it might be in some cases it's debated, but it doesn't mean kind of prejudging the books that the book of Bible would be wrong completely. It doesn't mean like that, because even regarding the Qur'an, some other scholars thinking like that. But we say that you just search. If you find some wrongness, then you can claim like that. If you don't find, then you are not allowed to claim like that. As professor was mentioning, like these points, that you are able only to speak about what you find, what your result, not more than that area. Another point that is very important for me, I have a question. You said that regarding the dating, we are unable to find exactly the time, even by the tools of radios, radiocarbonic, that we cannot be sure that this manuscript is related to that specific time. But for searching the dating of the manuscript, as I know, we just don't rely on, and we don't limit us only to some tools. We can use the external context as well. For example, is written the type of written is, or some writers is mentioning that this, for example, it's from Ambrose, for example. Yeah. So we can be sure that it's written in that time, because he was alive only in that time, not after that time. So I have a question regarding that. Why you told that the dating of the Holy Quran is not be kind of, we can accurate it? Then they kind of misjudged us.
Actually, you see,
we can put this
wrap up.
At the end, and I have a question too. If I
okay.
And is there any other question?
Let me just answer that question. For Rashid, let me just say that nowadays, no scholar claim that the Bible is the Word of God. No scholars at all. Nobody can claim that at the moment, because they all know that the Bibles the different books of the Bible have been written at least 150, years after Prophet Jesus. Yeah, about the dating, you see that first of all.
استاد ببخشید من اسکایی میخوام سرویس منتظر ما
پیام دادن
مدرسه
خب پس
Okay, no problem.
it was my question, so I can get my question.
No, I will continue with that.
Okay.
You're going to just
No,
go with
I'm
them.
not going with them.
Okay.
I will just manage it. Can I manage them to go?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Thank
Okay.
you so much, Ustad.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
It was very
I appreciate your
Thank you for
being
your
here.
kind words. It was very beneficial. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Okay, thank you all for coming, and I appreciate your participation and attention to our discussion.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay.
Like just to yeah.
Just a point. When at these days, I mean today, when we see the Islamic studies, we can call it interdisciplinary field.
Yeah, interdisciplinary.
And we can see it's growing rapidly, and when we see different academies or universities, we can see scholars around the world are working in this field.
Yeah.
And of course, in this field, the most of I can say important methodologies is critical methodology.
Yeah.
And this methodology can studies basis of the texts, sources, and many different aspects of Islam, and I can say cultural, historical, or other aspects of Islam as a phenomenon.
Yeah.
At the end, my question is that can we call this methodology an Orientalist approach? And or because of your pathological perspective at the end of this discussion, this idea came to my mind. We can call it an Orientalist approach when we refer to this methodology in different works of scholars in Western countries.
Orientalism, when we just refer to these, methods by Orientalism, it is a type. It's a sort of, lowering these, methods. These methods are academic, and Orientalism is not itself a method. Even it is not a methodology. Yeah, it's an approach, but we cannot, refer to them as a method. So in Orientalism, yes, they need to use different, methods, and based on the finding that they are seeking for. Yeah. Yes.
All of them are not doing like the same.
Of course.
But many of them has to do because they only the text is on the ancient manuscript
Yes,
is
they used to work
database.
On
That's
yes,
when
this data, as you said. Yes, they used to work like that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And regarding, the dating, first of all, at the moment, dating is a subject of controversial, issues. Mm-hmm. At the moment, nobody can exactly say that this manuscript belongs to that text. But despite of that, we can say that even if you can find out that this particular manuscript is belongs to that point of history, then by this single manuscript or some several manuscripts, we cannot judge. You see, there are some manuscripts that based on that they say that some part of the Holy Quran has been written, for example, in a period after the Holy Prophet. But on the other hand, there are some, manuscripts with the same, surahs that they say that, based on radiocarbon, they belong to the life of the Holy Prophet as well. So we should, analyze them. We should compare them, and with a single, manuscript and with a single dating, we cannot judge. That's the point.
It would help us that we...
Certainly, certainly it would help us. But what they judge.
We can see that it's the first database first sources.
Yeah.
That because it's related to exactly to that era time that we are going to investigate about.
Yeah.
So it would be more help us that these books are surely from that time. Not even because we Muslims believe that there is no limitations in the Holy Quran. But in the case that 1%, that if there is, in that case we can say that it's more close to that time, then those books are the same, that these books are, so we can say no limitations.
Yeah.
And the more valid sources.
Yeah. Certainly, we can get help from all these methods and methodologies and from all these findings, but what they judge is beyond their abilities. That's the point. Yeah.
At the end, can we find a combination between archaeology and historical criticism?
Certainly we can.
Yeah, for example, for studying coins or something like that.
Certainly we can. But we should just, be careful about what we just judge, with these, findings. The judgment should be related to, the findings, not beyond that. Our problem with their finding is with their, judgment and with their result is that they judge beyond what beyond their abilities, and they judge beyond what, what they find as the evidence.
Could it be like just only descriptive way of, just kind of reporting that we find out that in that time there were kind of coins and, for example, these coins was related to that time. It seems that these coins are, for example, we can not judging by, many of the articles are like that. We just descriptions and we just report what we find.
No problem.
We don't judge.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. But the problem is that they say that definitely it is so.
Okay.
We cannot say definitely.
To say like that.
They say that. They can say that. It seems to us that is so.
For example, I've seen one documentary. It was related to the poison which has given to Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba. And based on different documentaries, was find out that this poison was, it seems that that poison was had come from the Rome, ancient Rome, and that's why they, they were kind of judging, analyzing that this poison was given by, had to reach to the Mawi and then reach to the by some different mediator, it was reached to the Imam Hassan. And from the different sources of that poison, which was described in the whole historical stories, then they were kind of judging that it has to be from that.
We can. It seems to us that so,
yeah.
it is so, but we cannot say definitely it is so.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't say like in that document.
Our problem with the researchers, with that historical critical method, is that they say that it is definitely so. And another problem is that those who listen to these, reports, they think that this is definitely, this is definite,
Yeah.
but it's not.
The problem of the way of giving that report is like that. I'm sure that that documentary is saying like that, so has to be something
Yeah.
behind that.
And Excuse me, just at
Okay, no
the,
problem.
can we call this book Quran of Historians as an example of historical criticism?
Certainly, certainly. That's actually
study,
the main reason that we're just discussing the
Yes.
research method. Yeah.
Of course, yes.
That's
I
one of
think the main methodology in this book
Yeah,
is
that's the book of the Quran of historian is the manifest of this research method.
of course, yes.
Yeah, that's
Thank
it.
you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Is there
No, no. Yeah, we can see the proper Peysepar in another meeting, and we can ask them.
Okay,
Now it's
no
better to
problem.
finish because it's close to the time of Asal.
Okay, yeah.
Inshallah. Yes, thank you so much. It was really interesting. I learned so
You're
much.
welcome.
I appreciate you too. Thank you. And just I think we can finish it. And thank you for coming. And yes, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.